Good evening, this is VJ Franz K. Let's take a minute to talk about a new and interesting game called Lost in Shadow for your Nintendo Wii. It may be just because I am an idea man, but I believe that a good idea is king in video game design. Here I am, not controlling the boy, I'm controlling the shadow of the boy, as he tries to return and discover the mystery of however the two got separated. But anyway, as you can see, we have this terrible tower here, and actually it's a little bit more sinister than I expected, but as you can see, little bit of Darth Vader meets World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy or something. He has separated your character's shadow from your character. You will be playing the shadow of this boy as you try to return to the body and hopefully solve the mystery of whatever is going on in this strange situation. Now, it's a pretty cool idea. And you can see then he's waking up, or at least his shadow is waking up. And sort of a Wizard of Oz meets the Tower of Babel situation here. But she's going to help him on his quest. Style is interesting here. It's a sort of a steampunk look with a lot of rusted, worn-out looking technology here and there. I'm going to select one of these vials, which I guess contains a shadow. The music is pretty nice. It's sort of like Philip Glass or something. We're going to load my shadow and see where I'm at in the game currently. Yes, it is sort of like the novel Peter Pan. If you remember, in the early part of that book, Peter Pan's shadow gets separated from him, and then he has to get his shadow sewn back on. Now, unfortunately, Wendy does not seem to be in sight, but you will notice that Tinkerbell would seem to be in sight. So, I guess it is kind of a reference to the Peter Pan situation. Oops. Even shadows have to watch out from falling off cliffs. Anyway, so I'm going up here. And then you'll notice that there are some objects which do not show up in the natural world. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting revolutionary gameplay in this, and that's what I like. I'm going to move my little ferry here, and then swing the light. Oh, that's very cool, look at that. And by swinging the light, I'm warping the entire shadow world. Yeah, this is a sort of action puzzle platformer quest with some really interesting ideas that you don't normally see in a game like this. It is a little bit creepier than I would sort of hope it to be. I'm not sure if I had a kid if I'd want him to be playing this, but, well, as long as he wasn't too young and prone to having nightmares from this type of situation. But anyway, let's see, I'm trying to get these various marks. Gather memories. As we approach the mysterious tower. Now here's where the nightmares really might start beginning. There are shadow monsters that are not in reality but appear only in shadow. So I'm going to have to deal with them somehow. I think I saw the shadow of a sword around here somewhere. Behold, the Shadow Excalibur! At last my character is no longer a victim. He can defend himself against the shadow monsters. A rusty sword, of course. You always have to start with really bad weapons in these RPG-type situations, even though this is definitely not an RPG. It's more of a... The real thing is rusty and old, but its shadow makes for a perfect blade. How interesting. What is this tower, anyway? Who built it, and for what purpose? Well, I suppose we don't know that. Engage a spider in shadow battle. Not doing so well here. There, I got him. Take that! There's also times when I get to control the light source by moving it. So by altering the position of the shadows cast, I change the 2D world. As usual, I'll just mention, I don't like games that use the nunchuck that don't really have to use the nunchuck, because it is the weak link in the Nintendo Wii's design. I think they should perhaps go back and redo that part of it. Needless to say, you will encounter some very interesting interactive architecture, you might call it. Your journey will be one not only of geography, but also of architecture. The level design is really intense in this particular game. Here's an interesting development. By using these genetic code-looking things, I can turn the perspective of the world, which produces some very strange effects. Yes, when the entire world is rotated... Wait, I must be careful not to rotate it so the shadows overlap my character. But anyway... Then, when I find the next rotation thing... I can rotate it again. So it's sort of like a 2.5D platformer crossed with a 4-dimensional platformer, if you will. Because the 2.5 dimensions that I'm dealing with keep changing depending on the situation. Very interesting.